I don't know why.
Hi guys, what's up? I'm Summer. Welcome, or perhaps welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for clicking on that video. Okay, so today's video is going to be my favorite books of 2020. Yes. I know this video is way later, but I still wanted to post it. I hope that's alright. Okay, and I guess I should just go ahead and say none of this is in like actual order. So it's not like I listed my favorites first and my least favorite second. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first book I'm going to be talking about is The Defining Decade, Why 20s Matter. And this book is by a psychologist named Meg Joy. So in this book, this psychologist basically talks about, or she uses her clinical knowledge with present and past patients to talk about why your 20s actually does matter and why your 20s is not a waste of time. So she talks about this misconception that a lot of people feel as though your 20s is just like a second adolescence. And so how she doesn't like the misconception of people glamorizing wasting off in your 20s, and sometimes even things like social media and etc. can make people feel like they should be wasting off their 20s. She also talks about the different things that we can actually build in our 20s and how what we build in our 20s actually does set us up for when we're 30. And she basically just uses her clinical knowledge to talk about how she feels like, in fact, your 20s is possibly your most defining decade of adulthood. And I don't know, I just thought that it was a really good book. So if you are a type of person that's interested in any form of psychology, I feel like you should check this book out if that's something that interests you, but I really enjoyed it. Okay, so the second book I have is Midnight Library, and I really enjoyed this book. And I'm not going to lie, this is a book that I actually didn't finish the last 2 chapters until 2021 technically, but I really want to include this in this book because in 2020, this book really meant a lot to me, honestly. If you guys have not already heard about it, it's about a girl named Nora, and she is in her early 30s. And so basically she's in the position where she kind of just talks about all the stuff that she regrets about life and how if she would have made different decisions, maybe she would actually be happy in life. She struggles with depression and essentially a form of suicidal thoughts because she does try to commit suicide. And this is not a spoiler, this is something that is in the synopsis. And so this book basically takes you through her experiences and in a way like her regrets and essentially like her eye-opening journey as to why life is important. So basically it's called The Midnight Library because she ends up in this library which is between life and death. And so this library has like all of these books, but so each book that she opens, it's like a form of like regret, and she can live in that lifestyle with taking out that regret. So basically every little decision, it talks about how that could have changed your life or even changed people around you, and decisions that they made and how they may have felt about the situation. So I don't know, it's just really interesting because I feel like that's so true in life. Like so many decisions that we find kind of like simple, it really can change a lot in our life. Also, I really love the fact that Nora was in her 30s, because a lot of the times, at least I feel like since I'm older now and I'm getting older, that I should have more decisions to make for myself and have more of like a layout of my life. So I love the fact that Nora was 30 years old still going through this, because it just kind of shows you that like no matter what age of life that you're in, you can still feel like you're like incomplete, and you can still feel like you still don't have a layout of what you exactly want your life to be like. And that doesn't necessarily make you a failure, that doesn't necessarily make your life horrible, that doesn't necessarily make you bad as a person, but just like in general how everybody in their own way is still trying to figure out life. And I don't know, I just think that's, I like that, okay, I like it. Okay, so the next book we're going to be talking about, Cass, and this is The Origins of Our Disconnect. This book is basically exactly what it says, honestly. It talks about all of the caste systems and kind of like that form of foundation and structure that have been set up for Black people, specifically in America. Okay, sorry guys, my camera died, but so yeah, but she talks about the caste systems kind of like all over the world and how those kind of intertwine with America's caste system. And she also talks about how the caste system and that structural foundation, how that truly has changed and conflicted with others' lives, and even the generation after generation after generation after that. And I don't know, I just think that's like actually so interesting because, you know, especially in America, it is like so obvious how there is a caste system in America. with Black people, like specifically, even to the extent that like when people come from like different places, like I've met people that are from Haiti, I've met people that are from the Dominican Republic that have come here, and it's honestly, if you guys don't know, the Dominican Republic and Haiti, they literally, like, they neighbors, like they're so close, they're neighbors. But yet a lot of them, I feel like it's more so like the older generation, but sometimes like I've been friends with people of the upper generation that's kind of like this too, but they have this caste system in a way. Let's just be honest, both of the skins are brown, and so, but you can kind of tell, like, even the division, even when they come here, the division that they have from the generations and generations. It's just really, really interesting, and I would highly recommend it. All right, so the next book we're going to talk about, I actually recently just purchased it because I enjoyed it so much, and it's called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. So I did read this book like half. I got the book from my library, but I read it like half my library book and then half audiobook from my library. And it was just so interesting, honestly. So this book is about a therapist herself that goes through a traumatic experience, and she ends up having to seek therapy even though she's a therapist like herself. So it goes back and forth from that to the therapist's clients, and all of the different clients have, like, their stories are like way different. They're different age ranges, like all of that sort. And I thought it was actually like pretty cool how this book kind of like weaved the stories like all together, because in a way, like, after you read the stories, like, you're thinking like, okay, like, how is this gonna kind of like play out with all these different like stories? And I 100% picked this book up because I was like, I think I probably need to go to therapy again. And so Maybe You Should Talk to Someone is like an obvious thing of like, oh, let me pick this up. So the very last book I'm going to be talking about is The Vanishing Half by Brett Bennett, and this is the same author that wrote The Mothers, by the way. Killing it, right? So anyways, I know everybody's heard about this book before, but The Vanishing Half is about two twin sisters that all grew up together. They went through some traumatic experiences in life together, and essentially even apart. And so they've grown up their whole lives with each other. They're so close, and one of them decides to separate from that lifestyle. She lives kind of like in the deep south. She's just kind of, you know, sick of the same thing. She decides to leave. When she leaves, she decides to live white passing, and while the other twin lives her life as a Black woman. We just kind of see how both of their stories kind of intertwine. It's around the setting of the 1950s to 1990s, and I don't know, like, I know a lot of people, because Stella's a sister that does leave and decides to be white passing. I know a lot of people like talk so much trash about like, how could you leave your family, how could you do that, but like in actuality, it was very dangerous for her to be white passing, and a lot of the decisions that she made was very dangerous. And I don't know, like, I want to have sympathy for her, but it's so hard at the same time because of the person that she had to become to try to like escape and like run away from her Blackness. But at the same time, she is living in America, which a lot of the times, all of the times for Black people, there was not really much of a choice. And I can definitely kind of understand why she would get so sick of the treatment if you do identify as Black. It really was one of those stories that I still think about to this day. I read it when it first came out of Book of the Month, and I literally read that book in like 2 days, and the writing style is absolutely beautiful. Like, I am just now getting into like reading a lot of books a month, or at least reading like 4 books a month. But I will say, like, I like to read a lot for like academic purposes and like sentence structure purposes and things of that sort. And when I tell you, I really feel like this book is so beautifully written, like so beautifully written, like no hype on that. I know everyone hypes up this book, but I'm really not trying to hype it up. But I really think that if you have not read the book, you definitely should give it a chance if it's something that you think you would be interested in. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please comment down below if I talked about any books, that are your favorite, or if you want to tell me your favorite books of 2020, please comment that down below. If you've made a video of your favorite books in 2020, also comment down that below too, because I actually would like to see everyone else's favorite books of 2020 as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Follow me on my socials. I try so hard to keep my Goodreads up to date, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not 100% accurate because I'll pick up a book and start reading it, and then sometimes I'll put it down and pick up another book, I'll finish that book, and then back and forth, and I don't like update as often as I probably should my Goodreads. I do try. So hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.
Everything was so cool, but lately you've been acting brand new. You were so different when I met you, and ain't gonna lie, I missed all you. Something just been missing, baby. I can tell the difference whenever